of Holy Week. We often overlook this. Monday in Holy Week is where it gets real. And it gets real in a hurry. So reading from Mark's account of the Gospel, the 11th chapter, beginning with the 12th verse. On the following day, when they had come from Bethany, he was hungry. Seeing in the distance a fig tree in leaf, he went to see whether perhaps he would find anything on it. When he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. He said to it, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And his disciples heard it. Then they came to Jerusalem, and he entered the temple and began to drive out those who were selling and those who were buying in the temple. And he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold doves. And he would not allow anyone to carry anything through the temple. He was teaching and saying, "Is it not written, 'My house shall be called a house of prayer for all the nations'? But you have made it a den of robbers." And when the chief priests and the scribes heard it, they kept looking for a way to kill him, for they were afraid of him, because the whole crowd was spellbound by his teaching. And when the evening came, Jesus and his disciples went out of the city. This is the word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
Two images are offered to us in this particular scene. Both of them are very well known. I mean, you don't even have to be a Christian to have heard about Jesus and the fig tree, or Jesus chasing people with a whip in the temple. Well, yes, both of those things happen, but both of those have far deeper meaning than we often give them credit for. Now, in the Bible, there's a bunch. I'm not even sure, well, I've never heard how many, but there's a bunch of these parallel stories that a story is given, there's an interlude, and then this first story is repeated, or the two stories are held up as both and. It's kind of what's happening in Mark. So, last week was about celebration. Does anyone remember what happened last week? I heard one tentative.
Palm Sunday.
Palm Sunday, thank you. She gets a door prize. Palm Sunday. We heard about this amazing procession coming in from the west, where Pontius Pilate, the governor of that sub-province, was at the head of a column of imperial troops, members of the 12th Legion, arriving in all the glory of the empire. It was amazing. At the same time, we heard about this itinerant rabbi leading a ragtag bunch of nobodies in from the east, riding on the colt of a donkey. That's a pretty good image to hold on to if you're trying to understand what it means to be a Christian in the 21st century. which empire, which king do you owe your allegiance to? And do your actions match the allegiance that you swear to? So I want you to hold on to Palm Sunday. Then we get to Monday. And you think, well, after that, hail, Hosanna, the King of the Jews, blessed is the Son of David. How do you top that? Well, you curse a fig tree. Jesus was approaching the city of Jerusalem with his disciples. It's a very, very short walk from Bethany to the city wall of Jerusalem. It's not that far a journey from the wall up to the Temple Mount. They're approaching the city, and it's really easy to start thinking, I am all that. Just yesterday he was being praised as the living embodiment of God's promise to the people. And so he's walking down the lane, and his disciples are with him. And they're feeling pretty good about things. And he sees a fig tree. Okay. If they took this story out of the gospel account, you really wouldn't miss it. Unless you're still holding on to Palm Sunday in your memory. Because Palm Sunday tells us how to interpret the parable of the fig tree. How's that, you might ask? How's that, you might ask?
How is that?
I will tell you. When they came from Bethany, he was hungry. Now, Mark's account of the gospel is about the immediacy of God. There's so many verbs used in Mark that they talk to us about. This isn't about someday in heaven, or someday God will love you, or someday you can get right with God. Mark is about now. Do it now. Don't wait to become a good person or to start living your faith in your life. Do it now. That's how you'll know. That's what Wesley was talking about social holiness. For him, it wasn't a matter of how many verses can you memorize, but how deeply you can enter into the heart of God. Seeing in the distance a fig tree in leaf. Jesus has been in Jerusalem many times. He's been there for Pentecost before. Approaching the city from any direction, you could see the Temple Mount. It was an awesome building. Even people in Rome had heard about the splendor of the Second Temple. You could see it. You knew what it was about. And Jesus is hungry. He sees the temple and he's hungry. How can he eat a temple? Simply this. What is the temple for? What is a church for? What is a synagogue for? What is a mosque for? What is a shrine for? It's a place set aside from the world where people can come not to find God,